Welcome to Sensible Health Solutions, the show where we simplify health and wellness. Join your hosts, Hallie Fields and Dr. Scott Luper, as they share practical tips and expert insight to help you navigate common ailments, nutrition, and overall well-being. Tune in for straightforward advice that empowers you to live a healthier life.
Good afternoon and welcome to Health Talk. My name is Hallie Fields and I'm your host today as we talk about health, how to get it, and how to keep it. With me today is Dr. Scott Luper. Dr. Luper is a naturopathic doctor, and today we are talking about how to get healthy. Hello, Dr. Luper. How are you?
Hello, Haley. I'm doing good.
Good. Glad to hear. 2024 is starting off strong.
Yeah. It's for me. I live in this little bubble of happiness and joy. It's almost embarrassing how fabulous everything is.
Good. Well,
really,
we're living our best lives.
Yep. I can't last forever, but man, I'm sure gonna ride it out.
Yeah, hang on to it while you got it, for sure. Well, in continuing our Living Well series, something we haven't touched on that I'm sure is pretty prevalent out there, I think, would be kidney disease.
It is. We've seen a fair amount of it in the clinic, and it's something that when it goes bad, it really goes bad. It's a life wrecker. It turns out the kidneys are really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would think so.
Without a doubt. So let's talk about what they do to start with, because that's always a good place, because whatever they do, well, that's how they break down.
Sure.
Because they can't do that anymore.
Sure.
And then the kidneys go bad.
So the kidneys are like your body's filter.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's it. They filter. That's exactly what they do. Now, here's how they filter. They got this thing that looks like a colander. Now, admittedly, this is super small. It's a little microscopic little blob. But it's really, if you look at it under the microscope, it looks like a colander. And its purpose is called a glomerulus, and its purpose is to hold on to the cells and the hunks and chunks and let all the fluid flow through.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So then all the fluid goes into this tube, and then the purpose of the tube, depending on where you're at on the tube, the first stretch of tube is all about reabsorbing the stuff you want to keep back in your body. So calcium and sodium and potassium and all these minerals, sugar, proteins, the whole kit and caboodle. Everything your body wants to retain, it reabsorbs, and everything it wants to get rid of, it just leaves there. And so it just travels, the nasty bits just travel on out with the urine. Now the thing is, it's taking your blood, pulling the cells out initially, just straining them out, and then pulling all the stuff you want to keep back in as it moves through the tube. But there's still a lot of fluid.
Right.
Gallons.
Okay.
Really. And so part of the job of the kidneys is to concentrate your urine so that the water, you hold the water, because that's part of the thing we want to keep is the water, but still have enough to get rid of the other things. So the whole second half of the kidney is all about concentrating the urine. It's an interesting system that it has, how it works, and so on and so forth. It's beyond the scope of the show to go into. Let me just say that's one of the things your kidneys do. It concentrates urine. So again, what it does is it filters the big stuff out at the glomerulus, and then it absorbs the stuff you want at the proximal tubule is what it's called, and then it concentrates the urine in the rest of the kidney. Now, here's the good news about kidneys. It doesn't take much of a kidney to be able to do all the job that a kidney does. Kidneys are overbuilt.
We have two of them.
Yeah, we not only do we have two of them, we don't even need all of one of them. We can get by with about 15% of your kidney function. So about a third of one kidney is all your body needs to do all the cleaning, all the reabsorption, and all the concentration of urine to keep you alive.
Why do you think we have two?
Well, in case one goes bad, we still have one.
Okay.
And in case that one goes bad, we all need is a third of one.
Sure.
And it sounds like a lot. It sounds like we got a lot of extra, except for a lot of people run out. They don't, even though they got all that extra, they don't have enough to make it to the end of their life, and their kidney ends up failing. Now, if your kidney ends up failing, what you got to do, it's not compatible with life. What you got to do is you got to get either the nasty bits out, and that's called dialysis, or you got to get a new kidney in. That's called kidney transplant. And so what we do is try to keep the kidneys as healthy as possible so that they last for the full length of your life. Now, if we can't do that, then what we try to do is we try to help people have whatever little bit of kidney they have left work as well as possible so they stay in the best possible health they can while they're on dialysis waiting for a transplant.
Okay.
And there's a lot that can be done. A lot. All kinds of stuff can be done.
Now, can you salvage or optimize kidney function to the point where they don't necessarily need the transplant?
Yes. The answer is yes.
Wonderful.
We're doing that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. You're helping.
I know. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So it's funny what you can do if you try, and you can do it. Here's the thing I haven't figured out how to do is grow a new kidney. I don't know any herb that'll grow a new kidney. But what we have been successful at is getting what kidney you have left to work better. And what you do is you gain your percentage points back. Really, the game is keeping above 15. If you have 15% of kidney function, you got enough to be able to get the job done. And what we do is we claw back as much kidney function as we can get, and then live with that, and then keep very careful watch over that kidney function and keep it tip top. Now, the way to keep kidneys functioning is common sense. I mean, everybody who listens to the show is going to know the answer to this question. So, Hallie, what kind of things can you do to keep your kidneys healthy?
Drink lots of water.
Yeah, that's not the right answer. That's part of it. No. It's eat right
and exercise. Going back to that. Okay.
Yes,
Obvious.
It is. That's the real answer. The actual real answer is eat right and exercise. That's what keeps your kidneys in good shape. Now, let's talk why. Let's talk about the things that happen to kidneys that kill them off. I talked about a normal kidney. Now let's talk about what the common causes of kidney failure. Let's look at the glomerulus first. That's the part where it's a sieve, and the sieve needs to stay intact. Now, what's that sieve made out of? It's made out of cells. It's a bunch of cells is what it is. It all have these little slits in them. So they could be killed off. So there's things that could happen there. If you had a whole bunch of antibodies all jam in to those sieves, generate white blood cell reaction. White blood cells come in. They get triggered by the antibodies. They dump their chemicals. Boom, you just lost your sieve. Now you have a dead sieve. You have a scarred sieve. It doesn't work anymore. And what'll happen is you get a hole instead of a sieve, and now cells and hunks and chunks start falling through. You got protein in your urine. You got cells in your urine. The cells, as they move through the various tubes, they get squeezed and packed into these little cylinders.
Sure.
It's called casts. They have a name for it. So you end up showing up with casts in your urine.
Okay.
And that's a clear sign that the glomeruli have been damaged. So what will damage the glomeruli? Well, anything will damage regular cells. White blood cells killing them, that's one way to do it. That's usually an autoimmune disease, by the way. That's what autoimmune disease, glomerulonephritis, comes from. If you have too much sugar in your system, the sugar tends to stick on stuff, and it tends to get in the way of the proteins that form the backbone of these sieves. And so the sieve doesn't work right anymore. The slots don't work right anymore. The cells don't work right anymore. The whole thing kind of fails. Sugar will do it. So what's that? There's a fancy doctor word for that. It's called diabetes. So what we're looking at is the number one cause of kidney failure in the United States is diabetes. And so the kidneys are particularly sensitive to the effects of high sugars, not only in the glomerulus, but really all along the whole line. Because if your sugars are so high that you're spilling sugar into the fluid, that proximal tubule is designed to suck the sugar back up, but it can't. There's too much. And so the sugar stays in the tube. You get some of it back, but you can't get all of it back. Just as an interesting fact, if your blood sugars ever go above 180, and they do, I mean, like patients who are doing that glucose monitor, and they can see their blood sugar spike to 200, 250, 300, even higher. And anything above 180, you're spilling
into your
sugar.
urine.
Yeah, you got sweet urine at that point.
Ugh.
Back in the old days, that's how they could tell people were diabetic. They would take a sip of their urine.
Oh, no.
No, really. Doctors, yeah,
Oh,
they're into it.
So glad medical technology has advanced beyond that.
Yeah, I don't hardly have to drink anybody's urine to
Good.
tell what's going on.
Isn't
that
lovely?
all? So anyway, so diabetes is a thing that'll do it. There's some genetic stuff that'll fail. It causes your kidneys to fail. There's a thing called polycystic kidney disease, where the kidneys tend to form these cysts. And the thing that causes the kidneys to fail on that one is real straightforward. The cysts press on stuff. So the tubes don't work right. They get squeezed, and so they can't drain right. And you can handle a cyst or two here and there. Remember, you got plenty of extra kidney.
Sure, yeah.
So you lose a little kidney function, but you're not really putting yourself in any danger unless you got a cyst and 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 a cyst, and then a bunch more cysts, and now you're running out of kidney, and you can't hardly keep up.
Are these like cancerous?
No,
cysts?
they're not. They're just little cysts, little round balls that are empty in the middle that press out, and they're full of fluid, and they simply push on the various parts of the kidneys, and they can go bad, and it's genetic. If it runs in your family, you can get tested for it. Now, there's not a whole lot you can do to turn it around, really, except for if you are really, really good about keeping your kidney functioning tip-top, you can afford to lose it and still stay on top of it. So the chances of you living longer and in fact never even having a problem go up if you
eat right and exercise.
Yes, absolutely. So what's this deal about eat right and exercise? How could that possibly help? The answer is, in order for your body, the cells to be resistant to the wear and tear, to be resistant to the toxins, to be resistant to the chemicals that your immune system's dumping, just so that they don't die, they could take a hit and keep on going at it. If you're full of antioxidants, and that comes from the fruits and vegetables, then you can take a hit where other people couldn't.
Sure.
So how many fruits and vegetables do you need? A lot.
Yeah.
Really, mostly. You eat mostly fruits and vegetables. I'd say 6 handfuls a day. And if you do the math on that one, it's tricky because 2 handfuls for breakfast, 2 handfuls for lunch, 2 handfuls for dinner. I mean, 2 handfuls of vegetables for dinner is a fair amount of vegetables. You had a high vegetable dinner. Lunch is also reasonable, but breakfast is harder to do, to 2 handfuls of vegetables for breakfast. So what I end up recommending my patients is they'll do a fruit in the morning, and then they'll do a fruit in the afternoon, and then get 2 handfuls of vegetables for lunch and 2 handfuls of vegetables for dinner, and then they do pretty good. Their body gets used to it. You've been putting that much fiber in our system, sometimes it'll make you have gas when you first start doing it. But once your body settles into it, it gets real used to having it, and you just feel better and you just do better. It'll not only help your kidneys, it'll help everything else too. We talk about dementia. We had a show about that. It'll help decreases your chance of having dementia. We talk about heart disease, same thing there. We talk about, pretty much everything we talk about, the fruit and vegetable thing will help because it helps your cells function better. And anything that's regulated by your cells is just going to run better, which, by the way, is everything because that's how we live. We live based on our cells, what our cells do. Okay?
Got it.
Now, we're missing a bunch of stuff here. One of the things that happens that goes bad with kidneys is occasionally your kidney will grow a stone.
Right. That was my next question. I know a lot of people, I've met a lot of friends, a lot of family members who suffer from kidney stones, either occasionally or on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah, let's talk about the stones. So what happens is, remember I told you your kidneys have to concentrate urine, and they have a whole apparatus to allow them to do that. So if there's any minerals in your urine, and there is, then those minerals get concentrated. If you concentrate minerals enough, they'll grow into crystals. My son Patrick and I did this. We got all kinds of different minerals, and we made a supersaturated solution. We basically just dissolved as much of that mineral we could in hot water, and then we let it cool, and then we stuck a stick or a string in it, depending on what we were looking at. And we grew crystals like crazy. We grew salt crystals. We grew sugar crystals. The best ones we grew were borax crystals. They were just beautiful and huge. And so you can grow the crystals in a concentrated solution. Well, geez Louise, that's exactly what your kidneys are doing. They're making a concentrated solution. How come we're not growing crystals all the time? I don't know. Our kidneys are good about not growing crystals, except for they're not perfect.
Sure.
Occasionally they'll grow a crystal. Most of these crystals are calcium oxalate, about 80% of them. And most of them are actually triggered by salt. Salt is because you have to have a speck that you get the crystal to start on. And usually it's a teeny little salt crystal that's in the center of these things. So if you can have low enough salt, then your chance of getting kidney stones really goes down. Salt turns out to be really important to them. People usually focus on the oxalates. The problem with oxalates, so they're naturally high in really healthy foods. Remember I told you fruits and vegetables? Well, that's where the oxalates come from, fruits and vegetables. So you think, well, I'm eating too many fruits and vegetables, I'm going to get kidney stones. No, really no. I mean, I guess if you lived on spinach and you were a kidney stone former, you'd have a problem. But it's easily solved. Just eat spinach once a day only.
Okay.
Right. You get carrots and broccoli and sweet potatoes and whatever, other stuff that's coming in, peas and whatever. And then, so you're not overloading on the oxalates, right?
Right.
But it's really not about oxalates in your diet that drive this thing. It's salt. If your salt levels are real high, you're much more likely to grow stones. There's some other things that are helpful to keep the stones from growing. Calcium competes with magnesium. If you have a lot of magnesium around, the calcium stones tend not to form. Now, if you have too much magnesium around, then you get magnesium stones. Blah. So you got to have a balance between the two. So, basically we're back to the same old thing we were talking about before, which eat fruits and vegetables. Let me add a caveat to this, though. Eat a variety of fruits and vegetables. The thing to shoot for is 30 different kinds of fruits and vegetables a week. It sounds like it's a lot. It's not. It's not a day. You don't have to eat 30 fruits and vegetables in a day. It's just in a week. So if you sit down and you have, a stir fry, well, you got onions and you got broccoli and you got carrots and you got cabbage and you got, those sweet peas, right? You got 5 of them right there in one meal. It's easy schmeezy. And then, later you have some berries and a banana and an apple and an orange, and now you're halfway there practically, right?
Right.
It's not that hard to really get 30 different kinds in. You got to think about it, and you got to keep track of it, and that's really a big help to this. But let's go back to the stone thing. I do want to mention something about these stones, which is, are they painful?
Yeah.
It's about the worst pain that a man can feel. I mean, almost for a woman, too, except for there's that thing where you deliver a baby that tend to hurt pretty bad. Yeah. But short of that, in terms of like a normal thing, it's basically trying to pee a piece of glass.
Yeah.
That's really what it's like. You think they'd be all rounded? And in theory, they could be, but mostly they got these little sharp edges. It's like it's a grain of sand. Now, you don't pass all stones. Sometimes people will keep stones inside them, and they just grow and grow and grow. And you can get a stone that's as big around as the end of your thumb. It's possible. Now, if one of those got settled in to one of the ureters, that would cause a blockage. And that really is a medical emergency. You got to go to the hospital and get that taken out.
That's otherwise, surgically removed.
Yeah, it's got to be surgically removed. Otherwise, you're gonna lose your kidney. Your kidney's gonna die. Kidneys need drainage.
Right.
If it quits draining, they quit working.
Yeah.
And they just can't survive. They can't live in that environment that they create by pulling all the toxins out. They have to drain it out all the time for them to be able to function. So if the stone is too big to pass, you can get it broken up. They have a machine that'll send waves, sound waves, powerful focused sound waves into you. It's called lithotripsy. But you think how hard would you have to hit somebody to break a stone? Really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard. So it's like being in a prize fight with the world champion.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike, he could punch pretty hard.
Yeah.
He would do it.
Yeah.
You could have Mike Tyson pummel your guts.
Mm-hmm.
That might work. Yeah,
Maybe.
like that.
Okay.
Like that. Yeah. That's what this machine does. So a lot of times it's if anything, it might even be easier to get the surgery to get it out. So here's the thing: if you can pee a stone out, that is way, way, way better to do it.
Absolutely.
Way better. And so what you need is a way to relax that ureter. Ureter's made, that's the little tube that goes between the kidney and the bladder. That's usually where it gets hung up. So the ureter's made up of smooth muscle. And smooth muscle, if you jiggle it, it tends to contract. You know, it has this tendency just to contract. It's automatic. We don't think about smooth muscle. We don't do anything with it. But if you can relax it, then it makes it way easier to get that stone to go through. And there is a very, very effective way to relax a ureter, and that is to get into warm water.
That's what I was about to say, like hot compress or even a soak.
Yeah, and forget the compress. It's not enough.
Okay.
What you want to do is you want to submerge.
Okay.
So the best way to do this is in a hot tub. Not everybody has a hot tub, though. So if you don't have a hot tub, you get into a bathtub. Now, not everybody has a bathtub either. So if you don't have a bathtub and you're trying to pass a stone, you gotta borrow one. You gotta find somebody that you really, really like.
Yep. Go to a friend's house.
Now,
have a bath.
if you're going to use a hot tub to do this, you're going to have to sacrifice that hot tub water, because what you have to do is you have to drink a whole bunch of water, because it's the back pressure that pushes the stone through. You have to get in the water and you have to pee into the water.
Oh.
So you drink and pee and drink and pee and drink and pee and drink and pee and drink and pee like that. Anything else that you can do that will relax smooth muscle will be helpful. Magnesium can be helpful. It causes you to have diarrhea, which is a drag. But if you do overdose on, I don't know, overdose is the right word. You have vigorous amounts of magnesium, it'll relax a smooth muscle. And there's some medications that work really well. There's a painkiller called Toradol, which is a godsend. That really, really, really helps relax smooth muscle, and it'll help you pass a stone. Now, a lot of times the doctors are going to want you to catch that stone, so you have to pee into a sieve, like a strainer, but you can't do that if you're in the hot tub. So you have to sacrifice that, unless you want to hop out of the tub, and, oh, brother, you don't want to hop out of the tub.
Not after
You got to
an
really
extended stay.
like your doctor a lot
Yeah.
and just be ready to sacrifice for science to be able to catch those stones.
Sure.
Yeah, like that. So it's doable. How do we get on this subject? This is a horrible subject.
Well, I mean, a lot of people out there suffer from kidney issues. So.
Yeah, you should tell everybody who we are and why we're talking about this.
Well, again, this is Hallie Fields, Clinic Director of White Spruce Medical, here with naturopathic Dr. Scott Luper, and we're talking about kidney disease.
Good. So let's talk about how to prevent it.
Yeah.
Because we talk about all these diseases and how the death, destruction, and despair. I hate this conversation. I'm all about prevention. Let's work on prevention. Okay, so here's some things that you can take that are going to decrease your chances of getting any kidney disease. Doesn't decrease the chances to zero, but it decreases them a lot. Halves, quarters, maybe even more than that, and your chances of getting into disease. Okay, here's the list. Again, you guys probably could always know this already. What you could do is you could take fish oil. Fish oil tends to soothe and coat. And so the ability of your cells to take a hit from some sort of toxin or some kind of white blood cell out, on a tear or, whatever, anything, really just across the board nearly. The fish oil decreases the chances of your cells dying. It increases your chances of being able to weather whatever the storm is and come out intact on the other side. So fish oil is a helpful thing to do. So what we want to do is think about things that do that. So antioxidants. There's bunches of them, but antioxidants are helpful with that. They'll help your cells weather a storm as well. So what are the antioxidants that are helpful? Pretty much them all, the whole kit and caboodle of them. Vitamin C is lovely. It's cheap. It's easy to take. Glutathione is absolutely the best, but it's hard to get into cells because cells regulate it so well. So there's some ways to get around that. One of the things you could do is you could take alpha-lipoic acid, which coordinates with the glutathione. It helps the glutathione run better. It interacts with it, and the body will absorb it better than it will absorb glutathione. So for the patients that I know who have kidney failure, every single one of them is on alpha-lipoic acid, ALA for short. Another thing that's helpful is vitamin D. And vitamin D helps stabilize cells. It acts to some small degree as a antioxidant, but more is just basically it makes the cells tougher, makes them function better. So there's another thing you could do. Fiber in general tends to be good, mostly because it decreases the production of toxins from the gut. The number one source of toxins that people get is not, bad air or bad water, though it could be. I mean, if you were drinking water that was polluted, but mostly the worst place, the most common place for people to pick up toxins is themselves. So if you have bad bugs in your gut, if you're overeating, for example, the holidays and such, and so there's too much food that went in and your body can't digest it all, that undigested food makes it into your lower intestine. Actually, it'll eventually work its way through. Makes it into your lower intestine, and the bacteria have a heyday. And they just grow like crazy because there's plenty of food and hardly any predators. I mean, it's warm and dark and wonderful. And so they just grow and grow and grow is what they do. Now, when they eat the leftovers, they take what they want, and the nasty bits that are in the food, they poop it out. And those nasty bits get absorbed by us. Our body's pretty good about absorbing things. It tries not to, but it's just really good about absorbing water and all kinds of stuff, nutrients, and sometimes the nasty bits get absorbed, and then those nasty bits float around our body, wrecking havoc, and all of our blood eventually will go through our kidneys. Our kidneys have to filter every last drop of our blood eventually, and so those toxins go wham and go in, and the kidney takes a hit from them. So if you have plenty of antioxidants, then the chances of it getting to be a problem are down, and if you have plenty of fiber, the chance of even absorbing those toxins to begin with goes down. So the chance of you surviving this whole thing is better. I mean, not that it's going to kill you outright. It never does. You just feel poorly. You go, I ate too much yesterday. I'm feeling slow and heavy, and I got to learn not to do that, right? That whole conversation. Yeah, you're making toxins.
Okay.
And I use the word toxins. It's clear enough, but this is microscopic poop. That's what it really is.
Sure.
And so the other thing to consider, I mentioned this earlier, is you want to watch your salt intake and have it not be too much. And how do you know what too much or too little is? It's hard to know. You can kind of feel it by your energy. You can take your blood pressure. If your blood pressure starts going up, you got too much salt in you. The other thing is just easier to do is just run a test. The ideal amount of sodium, that's the one of the elements in salt that's kind of key, runs around 140. And so you just look at the sodium test. And if you're above 140, you got too much salt in you. If you're below 140, you don't have enough salt in you. Now, a little bit and a little above doesn't really matter. Your body's okay with it. A lot above, you're going to have trouble. This is where we're getting to this kidney problem. A lot below, you have trouble because now you're tired. It's not that your kidney's going to suffer. You're going to suffer. You need salt for your body to function correctly, for your nerves to function correctly, and you'll just feel tired is what you'll feel, and spacey, tired and spacey. Your blood pressure tends to go low too.
Well, anything else listeners can do to maintain kidney health before we take off?
Yeah, there is. Super important thing. You already said it at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, that one, that thing that we always circle back to, the eat right and exercise.
No, before that.
Water.
Yeah, drink plenty of water.
Okay.
The solution to pollution is dilution. So if you can run a lot of water through your kidneys, then they stay cleaner. If you let the stuff, if you don't get enough water, and then your kidneys get real concentrated and everything's just coming in real thick, the chances of you having problems goes up. So if you can simply just run more fluid through your kidneys, then you'll be in a better shape. The other thing I'd say is one of the ways I drink lots of water myself is I drink tea. I have a cup of tea in my desk all the time. I'm always working some kind of cup of tea. And I get, 2 or 3 in a day, 4 if I'm lucky. And I try my best, but I spend a lot of time talking, so I can't always drink tea all the time. But I do what I can. The nice thing about the tea is it's got the green epicatechins in them that are natural antioxidants. They protect your kidneys. That's another thing. I mean, the list goes on and on, all the things you take. But green tea is a particularly good thing to do. Really is, especially
Yeah.
if you got a desk job.
Yeah.
It's nice because you're not really getting up much, and it's hard to get your blood flowing to keep everything clean and tidy. So if you drink green tea, it helps your body tolerate the fact you have to sit there for 8 hours. Yeah.
Right. Well,
So there you go.
perfect. Wonderful. You heard it here. Thank you, Dr. Luper, for everything, like always. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Hopefully, you'll be with us again next week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay in touch.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Sensible Health Solutions. We hope you found today's discussion enlightening and packed with practical tips to enhance your wellness journey. Remember, small changes can lead to big results. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us bring you the best content possible. Stay connected with us on social media for more health insights and updates. You can find us at Sensible Health Solutions across all social platforms. Until next time, stay sensible and stay healthy. This content is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Seek medical advice from a healthcare professional for any medical conditions.